So I was fighting the urge to make this video because I just didn't want to admit that owning a business makes you lonely. I didn't want to admit it, honestly. They may tell you it costs to be the boss, but they ain't specified that it's your friends, it's your family, it's your relationships, it's the money. Everything is spread out, divided, and honestly, it's ghetto. But what I will say is that if you're somebody with ambition or always wanted something out of life, that it's an honor to be able to decide and focus on a certain priority and a certain goal for you to meet and then redistribute all of the energy after you have met that goal. It takes a certain type of discipline. It takes a certain type of hunger. It takes a certain type of loneliness that is actually needed. So, yes, it is lonely when you have a business. It is lonely when you're deciding to go on a path that others may not be willing to go on right now or ever. And that's what honestly makes the loneliness needed. Because, for example, I've always been the type of person to have friends or people know of me or I know of a lot of people. But the moment that I decided to focus on a priority, the moment I decided to take a leap of faith, okay? A leap of faith, my priorities shifted. And that shift is what made a beautiful, beautiful business that is now filled with teams, in addition to investments, in addition to partnership, in addition to growth, in addition to just the visual and financial abundance that needed to happen for me specifically. And so what I realize is the kind of loneliness that comes with owning a business is the kind that helps you find yourself. Like if you've ever been around a group of people and notice that you're making decisions or you're feeling emotions and different things based off of the group of people, that type of loneliness being a business owner is what is going to set you apart in settings like that. Or even if you're by yourself and you're not able to make decisions, or you're feeling was confuzzled or just unsure, right? The type of loneliness that comes with a business owner allows you to build the discernment, allows you to build the character, allows you to build your own opinion, and it allows you to know who you are, literally. And so knowing who you are allows you to build your empire. It allows you to track the right people, the right places, the right relationships that you actually want. And so to me, it's really a full therapy cycle. You're up, you're down, you're crashing out, you're mellowed out, you're remembering Jesus, you're repenting to Jesus, you're apologizing to Jesus, you're making bargains with Jesus. Each of those processes are now not only like sped up, but they're actually brought to the forefront of your life because it's showing up in the business or it's showing up in transactions or showing up in your communications that you are actually the center of. You are the owning of the business that is quote unquote a lonely process, but all of the interactions that you're coming across is making it a beneficial cycle for you to understand your emotions, regulate your emotions, have any emotions at all when it comes to just being in business. And that shows up when you want to have a friendship or a relationship or a spiritual connection with other people, with God, with anyone. And so that loneliness is honestly something that everybody should experience because it recenters and it brings you still to a quiet place that you can now use as reflection of honesty instead of going with somebody else's thoughts, going with somebody else's feelings, or just genuinely doing something that you may not want to do and just refinding yourself, realigning yourself, all because of the fact that you had time to be by yourself. And so that loneliness is powerful because it propels you in relationship. For example, there's going to be people you want to be in business with. There's going to be people that you want to speak to. There's really just three different type of tiers of people. People you want to go out with, people that you can catch a vibe with, and then you ultimately have people that you can have a good conversation with. You can still also go out with them. And then there's people that you can go out with them, you can have a good conversation, but you can also intellectually balance your feelings, your emotion, and your energy. And so there are different tiers of people, there are different tiers of relationships, and just having the discernment to choose who goes where, who does what, and how that ultimately affects you is really something that you cultivate on your own in being lonely. Right? Because we are truly never by ourselves, especially if you're spiritually aligned or you spiritually believe in God, right? Like me, you are never truly alone. You can never truly be let down because you have God. Even though that third level isn't always easy to come by, all three, people change, and that's okay. You change, and that's okay. We are all evolving, and that's okay. And so, if this is your lonely season, know that that is okay, because your lonely season is actually a focus season. It actually an isolation season. So if this is your lonely season, know that it's okay. It's a focus season. With focus comes studying. With studying comes wellness. With wellness comes repetition. With repetition comes great habits. And all of those great habits provide opportunity. And so, after you truly accomplish those goals that you focused on, just know that the season you were put in was meant for the isolation. It was meant for the isolation so that you can now have the elevation. And if this is your time that you feel as though it is quote unquote lonely or you are quote unquote isolated, then use it as your power, because everything happens for a reason. And the focus that you have, the energy towards the focus, the energy towards the priorities that matter right now could be the most life-changing factor that brings you back or brings you up or brings you above everything that was in your past or currently happening, to help people, to help yourself, to gain the confidence, to gain the reassurance, to gain discernment, to gain the valuable insights that other people weren't really ready to risk it all and do, weren't really ready to leap out on faith. And so if you're watching this video, know that you are chosen and that you are not lonely in a bad way, but you are lonely and isolated to be elevated. And take the time to nourish your body, right? Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. 100,000 times spiritually. I tell you, ask me how. I know it's okay. You don't have to be in every group chat. You don't have to be at every Raw Soul event. Guess why? Because your focus in your season is different right now. And that risk it all mentality, that abundance mentality, that next level mentality, that hunger mentality, that mindset shift focus that we've been talking about from the beginning of the video, that is on you, and it's coming from you. Not coming from anybody else. It's coming from you. And it's your time. And that's probably exactly why you're watching this video. And it's just the true definition of what it means to disappoint others over disappointing yourself. We're not intentionally disappointing people. We're not intentionally not reaching out to people. We're not intentionally not speaking up, right? I know for me, for a fact, I've taken the opportunity to just focus on what I need to focus on right now. But I know if I happen to be scrolling on social media one day, or 20 minutes that I decide to take a break and I go online, or I'm creating these habits where if I see it's somebody's birthday or even somebody I haven't spoken to in years or months, I'm just going to say something. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to like, I'm going to comment, or in my planner, I reach out to one family member once every week, because those are smaller things that can still be done in the course of everything that I'm doing, because we're not intentionally saying, nah, it's all about me, but we are intentional about the time, the management, the energy, and the focus that allows us to be in a lonely state, to isolate and now elevate. And so you come back 20 times thousand better, right? Not feeling guilty. If you love what you do, don't feel guilty about that, because nobody can do it like you. They need you to do it. The impact that you're making lights up the room, lights up the presence, the business, the customers, the consumers, the clientele. Your specific light is what drives them to come back, is what drives them to tell other people, is what drives their day. It's what drives the moment they open that package, the moment they click on the video, the moment they understand the service and how you are making a golden impact on their lives. So don't ever feel bad doing something that you love doing because it may not fit into somebody else's agenda of how you should show up in their life. How you show up in your life is exactly what you can control. And that's the serenity prayer. If you know, you know, to control what you can and ask God for the strength in the areas that you know that are not in your control. Now, I definitely paraphrase, but it is what it is because at the end of the day, it's a combination of things. It's a combination of feeling lonely. It's a combination of being lonely. You can have relationships and be so focused on them that you forget about yourself. You forget about what you can control. You forget about your controllables. You forget about your discernment, your direction, your leadership. And just focusing on yourself in that loneliness allows you to decide how you want to show up in the world, allows you to get through trauma, get through experiences. Yes, there are resources and people that we connect with to enhance and get the expertise that we so need. But making the ultimate decision to do that is sitting with yourself, absorbing your present. And I don't want us to focus on it being a loneliness, but more so knowing that perspective is everything. And so, what is it that you truly do with that quote unquote loneliness? You use it to your advantage. You take the time to put on the dress that you've been waiting to put on. You take the time to make the content in that dress that you've been waiting to put on. You take the time to go to the store and get your favorite drink. Go to this networking event that you've never been to, like July 26, 2025 charity basketball tournament, and August 17, 2025 the golden carpet 5th annual. These events, these places, these environments that you're putting yourself in to now build the character that you have spent time developing in that solitude or in that loneliness is what is going to take the business, the emotion, the traction, the relationship, the finances to a higher level, because not everyone understands business. Not everyone understands what it means to sacrifice, to risk, to take the leap and commit to this on a daily journey. Not everyone understands faith. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta wrap this up because I don't know if y'all hearing me. But as a CEO, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as an empress, as an emperor, not everyone understands. And that isolation that is equivalent to the elevation is what provides you clarity, is what allows God to concentrate on you because you've allowed yourself to show up for you. God goes all out for us, but when we actually show up, he doesn't want us to hide. I'm speaking to myself, speaking to all of us. He doesn't want us to hide. And so with all of that being said, the loneliness is truly just knowing yourself. Exactly in this video here. Knowing yourself. Should you also get into mentorship, this is another video here that you should definitely check out, because what is it that we are spending our time, our energy, our love, and our attention in that we can actually say, hey, I'm so lonely? No, you're not. Did you speak to yourself today? Did you journal with yourself today? Did you speak to God? Did you journal with God? Did you work out? Did you pray? Did you eat healthy? Did you prep for the rest of the week? Did you decide a track or update yourself on your current goals, your short-term goals, your long-term goals? Are you conversing with people that are of like-minded and high-level individuals? So that way, when the whole loneliness, decides to physically stop, you're actually attracted to the right people in the mental space, the right people in the financial space, the right people in the health space, because you have taken the time to isolate and now elevate. And being in business is okay to be lonely for a period of time, because sacrifice. Literally, they've understood what it takes, and that sacrifice, it's a greater impact, a greater choice, a greater leadership that comes from inside of you. So it's not lonely, it's in isolation, allowing you to have an elevation.